Contributors on Conklin Company are not necessarily those of 13 ABC. Now, Conklin Company continues with Take 3, commentary and analysis from our panel of political contributors.
Welcome back, everyone. Kind of an eclectic mix today on Conklin Company. We say so long to Mark Wagner as a legislator. We talk sports with Joe Nugent, the top stories of the year, and we bring back Tom Troy, who's been a big part of the show. Good to see you again, Tom. Happy New Year to you and yours. And what a year it's been. But we were talking off mic here a minute ago about the election, and just it seems like a distant memory now.
It's last year's news.
It is really. It dominated the storyline for months on end.
Right.
Couldn't get enough of it. And Mitt Romney's a distant memory now.
Right. Well, you know, Romney made a really hard push in Ohio. Ohio was the center of the universe politically in the United States. There were more presidential campaign visits to Ohio than any other state. There was more TV advertising spending than any other state. There were hundreds of paid people on the ground for both campaigns, especially for the Obama campaign in Ohio. There was no voter that the Obama campaign didn't know about and didn't know which way they thought he was going to vote.
In the end, was that the difference, Tom? Do you think that it was the Obama machine that overtook the Romney camp? I
think there were several factors. One was the sophistication of the machine, of the micro-targeting, of getting some kind of a read on every voter, and particularly the voters that they thought were going to vote for Barack Obama, and making sure that person voted by mail, early in person, or if they had to, getting them out to vote on election day. And they were confident from day one. The Republicans talked a good game, but they did not have, I don't think they had the on-the-ground numbers that the Obama people had.
When you're, pardon me, when looking back, do you think there was one moment in Ohio or across the country that the Obama machine was there, but one particular moment that they were able to pounce on and say, okay, you really made a mistake and we are capitalizing? Was it that Jeep moment in Defiance, Ohio?
I absolutely think it was, and that might have been the high moment, the high point of the Romney campaign. That was the biggest rally he had. I think there were 15,000 people there. I remember.
Were you there that night?
I was there that night. I remember sitting in my car waiting for an hour to go about a mile. There was so much traffic, more than I think they deal with on a regular basis there. But that when Mitt Romney made that comment that Jeep was thinking of moving all their production to China.
Yeah. He said, I read something, or
right.
Didn't really specify.
Right.
And it just kind of, but then they embraced it. They said, okay, we're not gonna run away from it. Right.
Well, I think they did see some opportunity there for political gain, because that is something that would undermine some confidence in the Obama, the rescue, the auto rescue. What they were trying to do was ameliorate to some extent the benefit that Obama was getting from that auto rescue, and that might have been the key thing that won the election for Obama. I mean, the economy was nobody's friend, and everybody was concerned about the economy. People were sort of, middling on Obama. But in Ohio, in northern Ohio, he saved the auto industry. And I think that probably was the single most important factor in Ohio.
And I agree with you. I think that night in Defiance, could have been the high point of his campaign, and it turned out in the end may have cost him the election.
Right.
No question about that. Well, you mentioned the economy, and here we are. Just before ringing in the new year, and it all comes down to this fiscal cliff.
Right.
You know, we don't have a crystal ball here. We're taping on Friday afternoon, and the president's slated to meet with Boehner and McConnell and Reid and Pelosi.
Right.
Congress reconvenes Sunday night, I believe, or tonight at 6:30.
Right.
You know, your thoughts on whether the twain shall meet here and come together in some compromise?
Well, of course, we don't know what they're going to do Sunday night, but they are called back in, and one has to believe that there's something they could do to patch things through. What's going to happen in the first of the year is people's income tax withholding is going to jump up. And I don't see how anybody gets a political benefit from that. The economy is going to suffer because of it. And there are signs that the economy, that there's confidence on the rise, that the economy is gradually improving. But to suddenly jack up everybody's taxes is going to be a hurt to the economy. And you hear the two sides arguing about who's going to get the blame, who's going to get the credit. I don't think there's any credit to be taken by anybody.
Yeah, not for this. It's really become a mess.
So I would expect there to be some kind of mini deal, mini agreement.
At least on the tax situation, right? We don't know what, they've been trying to come together on increasing taxes for the wealthy.
Well, the Republicans don't want to get burned by doing that and then face opponents in primaries from their right. These congressmen who are in conservative districts like Bob Latta and Jim Jordan, they don't have to worry about the Democrat. It's the Republican coming at them from the right.
And John Boehner, his own people, Plan B, he can't get it passed. And now he's looking at a situation where he's not going to be the leader of the House. We'll see what comes in the future. Quickly, looking ahead to 2013, it's an election year in the Toledo mayor's race. You wrote a story, I think, back on December 10th about 6 potential candidates in that pool. Has that changed at all, Tom?
No, and really there was only one declared candidate, and the situation is still the same. Opal Covey, Covey, of course, who says she's a prophetess. Who am I to say she's not a prophetess? Maybe she is, but we don't know that for a fact, so we say she says she's a prophetess.
Are we sure Mike Bell's running for re-election?
We are about 98% sure, but he hasn't said so. He reserves the right to say he's exploring, just as Anita Lopez and Joe McNamara are exploring, whereas we believe they are exploring with a bias towards running.
Yeah. One in particular, in your estimation, would be perceived as the front runner along with Bell in that primary?
I think you have to say that Anita Lopez has a leg up because she's got backing from unions, and she's kind of on better terms with the party. Joe McNamara is a little bit of a rebel. He ran when he ran for council. He ran against the party's candidate, and now he's in a situation where he is supporting a candidate for a vacancy on city council that the party doesn't support. That's Jack Ford.
And we're looking at Jack Ford, and Sean Enright got the backing of the party, right?
Right.
Correct? And we'll see what happens in the next week. Council will vote on that?
I think on the 7th or the 8th.
All right. Tom Troy, thanks for your contributions to Conklin Company throughout this year and the years past. Make it a great day, everybody. Happy New Year. We'll see you next year on Conklin Company. Take care.